Good day, everyone. In this lecture video, I will be discussing the topic sex-related traits until extranuclear inheritance. And to start with, yung sex-related traits, ito yung mga traits na kung saan ang kanilang expression ay nakadepende sa sex ng animal. That means the phenotype that is expressed ay depende kung yan ay male or female. So meron tayong three types of traits whose expressions are related to the sex of the animal. Number one is yung sex-linked na trait natin. Kapag ang trait ay classified as sex-linked, yung gene that controls the expression of the trait ay makikita sa sex chromosome. So that means makikita sa X chromosome or Y chromosome for the case of mammals. And pwede rin na makikita sa Z chromosome or W chromosome in the case of poultry species or avians. Bakit? Kasi X and Y sa mammals and then your sex chromosomes for the poultry or avian species ay Z and W. Okay? So tinatawag yan na X-linked trait if the gene controlling the expression of the trait ay makikita sa X chromosome. Tinatawag yan na Y-linked trait if the gene controlling the expression of the trait ay makikita sa Y chromosome or situated sa Y chromosome. Now, there are three examples here that are specific to animals na classified as sex-linked trait. One is feather sexing, another is color sexing, and third is auto-sexing. So, malalaman natin or nanonotice natin, even at the chick stage, madedetermine na natin kung ito ay male or female just by looking at the feather pattern. If you spread the wings or yung feathers niya doon sa wings, makikita mo yung pattern. And kung there's a specific pattern that will tell you na ito ay male or female. Ganon din sa paggamit ng color ng chicks even at ng manok even at the chick stage. Now, in the case of humans, ang typical examples natin for sex-linked traits ay yung hemophilia or yung sakit sa dugo. And then another is color blindedness. So color blindedness is more common in males because yung trait na yan ay X-linked specifically, meaning to say, the gene controlling color blindedness ay specifically located sa X-linked trait. So since ito ay X-linked trait, ang transmission of the gene is from mother to son. Yan siya. So kahit yung mother mo, for example, by the way, yung X-linked trait na color blindedness ay recessive. So that means you need two copies of the gene or the alleles for color blindedness. But if you are a male, since you only have one copy of the X, di ba XY ang sa male, so you only have one copy of the X that can carry the recessive allele. So for the males, having one copy of the recessive allele will be enough for you to express color blindedness or for you to become colorblind. Next, another category of sex-related traits is sex influence. Pag sinabi naman nating sex influence, yung trait ay yung expression rather, ibig sabihin yung phenotype na express for that particular trait ay nakadepende kung yan ay male or female. Ang typical example is sa heterozygote, for example. So we have a male na heterozygote ang genotype and another female na heterozygote ang genotype. For this case, male and female na pareho ng genotype ay magkaiba yung phenotype na i-express. I repeat, for sex-influence trait, male and female have the same genotype, specifically the heterozygote, will not show the same phenotype. So yun naman sa case ng sex-influence trait. So traits for which the expression, especially in the heterozygous na form, depends on the sex of the individual. And yung genes na ito ay carried on the autosomes. Dito sa sex-linked trait natin, the genes controlling the expression of these traits ay located sa sex chromosome. For the sex influence, the genes are located or carried or situated sa autosomes. Ang examples nito ay presence of horns in sheep. So we will be having a table later on to compare para may pakita na ang heterozygote na male at saka heterozygote na female will show different phenotypes. And then third category or third type of sex-related traits is sex-limited traits. Pag sinabi naman nating sex-limited ang trait, ang phenotype or yung trait na yon ay makikita mo lang or na-express lang sa iisang sex. Kaya nga siya tinawag na limited. The trait or the phenotype is limited only to one sex. So pwedeng makita lang sa male or ma-express lang sa male or ma-express lang sa female. So itong nakalagay na examples dito, these are traits limited to the females only because milk production, egg production, these are traits that are expressed by females. Now, in the case of males, ang sex-limited traits natin would be penile length, testicular size, scrotal circumference, semen volume, sperm motility, sperm concentration, etc. Yung mga traits, particular only or expressed in the males. Next, we proceed to, so this is just a figure to show the example for sex-limited traits. So ito yung mga ginagamit natin na mechanism to determine kung yan ay male or female, even at the chick stage. So ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na feather sexing. So kapag ganito yung feather pattern ng chick mo, if you spread the wings, it shows only one step curve, that is male yon. And then kapag ganito naman, it shows two-step curve doon sa shape wing, that is a female chick. Okay? Now this is an example. So this slide shows you an example ng sex influence trait. So ito ay yung presence or absence of horns, particularly in, ano yung sinabi ko kanina? In sheep. Oh, let's have here the first one. Reciprocal crosses between pure breeding males and pure breeding females give the same result. Ang ibig sabihin ng reciprocal crosses is um, pag sinukatan so magkaiba man yung genotype ng male at saka female, this will always give the same result. Example, pure breeding, we are referring to pure breeding. Pag sinabing pure breeding, homozygous, we are referring to the homozygous form of the genotype. So that is either homozygous dominant or homozygous recessive. So para mas ma-visualize ninyo ng maayos itong sinasabi nitong reciprocal process, let's take this mating as an example. So we have homozygous dominant P mated or crossed to homozygous recessive P. So remember that the polled phenotype is dominant. The horned phenotype is recessive. So ito, polled yan, polled, homozygous polled, and homozygous horned crossed together. And then syempre, you have the resulting offspring with this genotype. Ang offspring genotype ay heterozygous. So you get, once again, remember that you get the dominant P from this one and the recessive P from this one. You join, you produce the heterozygous genotype. Now, syempre, in a set of offspring, for example, in sheep, in a flock of sheep, you will always have chance na 50% male ang mapoproduce or 50% female ang mapoproduce. So if the male, kung yung anak niya, yung offspring niya ay male, tapos heterozygous ang kanyang genotype, horned ang ma-express. Okay? And then kapag naman heterozygous na ang tawag dito, heterozygous na female, fold naman ang ma-express. I'm sorry na pag sinukat ko sa detoy, this should be female and this should be male. Because, tama ba? Oh yes, this should be male and this should be female because the female is horned, specifically for sheep. Once again, sa bality mai-express na, iba yung mai-express na phenotype kung yan ay male or female. Now, balik tayo dito sa sinabing reciprocal cross. So, for example, this is the ram. The homozygous dominant P is the ram and the U is homozygous recessive P. Tapos, ito yung genotypes ng anak, ganito daw yung result. Pag baliktad nyo dito, heterozygous genotype, that's your female. Tapos, magiging horned siya, heterozygous P, male, polled. This case, nagsinukat dito. I stand corrected. Now, tikunana, no dati ti ram, tapos dati ni U, kasi ti result. And then, no pagbaliktad, no dati mo't ni U, I mean the female breeder, female sheep. and this is the RAM that yung male, same pa rin ang magiging result. Same pa rin na ang female will become, heterozygous will become the horned, and the male heterozygous will become polled. I hope you get yung explanation dito. And then second, in the heterozygote, the genes are usually expressed as dominant in the male and recessive in the female. Once again, in the heterozygote, the genes are usually expressed as dominant in the male and recessive in the female. So pareho lang yung sinasabi ko kanina dito na the polled phenotype is expressed doon sa male. In this case naman, ang mating natin is pareho sila. Parehong yung male at saka female na breeders, pag nag-asawa sila, ang mapoproduce na offspring will have males and females with the same genotype will show different phenotypes. So in this case, the heterozygous genotypes, heterozygous parents will produce this homozygous dominant P, heterozygous P, and then homozygous recessive P na genotypes in the offspring. And then for the male, specifically the heterozygous genotypes, and the female offspring with the heterozygous genotypes will show different phenotypes. So ito sa male, polled, and then in the female, horned. Yun ang example ng sex-influenced traits. Once again, the summary here is kapag ang trait ay sex-influenced, such as the presence of horns in sheep, iba yung phenotype na express sa male, iba yung ma-express sa female in the case of heterozygous lang. Pero notice that kung ikaw ay female, tapos homozygous dominant, in-express mo or kinikerry mo yung dalawang kopya ng dominant allele, still you will express yung talagang dominant na phenotype which is polled. But pag naging heterozygous, saka lang siya ma-express as horned. Next, the second non-Mendelian phenomenon dito sa discussion natin. Dito sa lecture video, we have multiple alleles. Ang concept naman ng multiple alleles is, di ba remember, one gene has two alternative versions. We have the dominant allele or yung uppercase letter, and then the recessive or the lowercase letter. Usually, they are just, ginagamit natin na examples, dalawa lang na alleles kada locus or kada location doon sa chromosome. But there are those genes that have more than two alleles. Pwedeng 3 alleles, 4 alleles, 5 alleles, etc. They can have many alleles at a single locus in the population. Ako ha. Ang ibig sabihin ng single locus is pwedeng may 4, 3, 5, etc. na possible na maging form yung gene na yon doon sa location na yon sa chromosome. Yun ang multiple alleles. Isang locus lang yung sinasabi single locus. Iba yung dalawa yung loci. Okay? So dito sa part na to, one locus lang ang pinag-uusapan natin. So dito is, suppose yung locus na yan ay locus C. Yung locus C or gene C has alternative four alternative versions or forms or alleles. We have the capital C, which will express the full color na brown, brown color. In this case, ang example na to is sa mice. Kasi sa mice, yan yung may typical example ng multiple allelism. And then, we have another C, lowercase c, na ang superscript niya ay CH. Kapag daw na-carry yon, ma-express ang chinchinilla, codes for chinchinilla. Another, lowercase c, pero ang superscript lang ay H. Himalayan naman yon. And then lowercase k, walang any superscript, that's albino. So ang order nito is, yung mas mataas, siya ay yung mas dominant over the mas bababa na allele dito sa list. So the order of dominance is this capital letter C or the capital letter C is dominant over this one, and this one. Once again, the capital letter C na allele is dominant over the other alleles in this case. Next, lowercase c na may superscript na CH is dominant over itong dalawa na yan. And then another C, lowercase c with superscript H, with superscript H ay dominant siya over this one. And then, ito namang lowercase c ay siya yung pinaka-recessive. So that means, kung i-pair mo yung capital C with all of this, ang ma-express pa rin ay yung full brown color. If you combine C with the superscript CH, dito sa any, dito sa baba niya, at saka yung sarili ng gene or allele or form, ma-express chinchilla and so on and so forth. So the only time that you can express or that you can produce an albino na mice or mouse ay kapag ito yung kanyang genotype. If it carries the two copies of the lowercase c or the recessive c. Yan ang multiple alleles. So iisa lang ang location ng mga ito sa chromosome. But again, for it to be expressed, for these phenotypes, for this brown, chinchilla, Himalayan, and albino to be expressed, kailangan ng pair. Ito, these are pairs. These are pairs also. This is a pair. This is a pair. So kahit multiple alleles siya, we just need a diploid form. Meaning to say, yung genotype pa rin niya, two letters or two forms, two alleles. So you need two alleles to become diploid, then magiging ma-express na yung phenotype. It doesn't mean na halimbawa, yung gene ay meron siyang four alleles, parang dito, four alleles yan, you need apat na magkakatabi na letter or alleles to express the phenotype. No, meron lang siyang sinasabi na there are many alleles at a single location or at a single locus in the chromosome. So it says here could have dominance. In this case, dominance. Complete dominance ang sinusunod natin na pattern. Complete dominance kasi the capital letter C is or completely masks the effect of the remaining alleles if it is combined with them. And then dito naman, dominance pa rin. Complete dominance pa rin ang may express dito. Wala siyang, in this case, dito sa example natin sa coat color this is ano pala, rabbits. I stand corrected. So, in this case, wala siyang co-dominance. Kasi kung meron co-dominance dito, may express sana yung Chinchilla at saka Himalayan. Meron doon siya, sana tayong combination or yes, combination ng Chinchilla at saka Himalayan. Pero wala naman. Okay? So, I hope na gets ninyo yung concept ng multiple allelism. Another is pleiotropy. So, pag sinabi nating pleiotropy, yung isang gene influences many traits. Because typically, ang ginagamit natin sa example ay one gene influences presence or absence of horn. Or gene A codes for coat color. Gene A Gene B rather. Gene B influences uh, ear orientation. Gene C influences ano ba? Shank color, mga ganyan. But in this case, sa concept ng pleiotropy, pwedeng yung gene A can code for 2 traits, 3 traits, 4 traits at a time. Yun siya. So, it's just ano yung etymology lang pleiotropy. So it came from the Greek word pleion, meaning more, and tropos, meaning way. So that means yung isang gene can influence many traits. And dahil dito sa influence ng iisang gene sa many traits, it's a major cause. Yung pleiotropy is a major cause of genetic correlations. Ang ibig sabihin yan, since itong gene na to, ini-influence itong ilan to? 7 traits. So if you want to improve trait A, for example, tapos negatively correlated siya, yung trait A is negatively correlated sa trait B. That means if we want to improve trait A, bababa yung trait B, yung effect ng trait B. So yan yung pleiotropy yung concept kung saan mahirap improve yung many traits na governed by iisang gene lang. Because, especially if there is negative correlation. So kung halimbawa, positively correlated lahat ng to, na 7 traits na to, governed by this one gene, positively correlated silang lahat, di jackpot ka. Because improving trait A will mean improving also the rest of the traits. So improving trait A, that means also na i-improve mo indirectly itong other traits controlled by this single gene. But unfortunately, if ito yung negatively correlated, tapos negatively correlated pa siya sa other two, yun yung magiging problema. Mas mahirap siyang i-improve if there is negative correlation. So, ang examples naman ng traits na nakikitaan natin ng pleiotropy is yung presence of horns in dairy goats and double mascling in cattle, specifically in beef cattle. So yung double mascling talagang ini-increase niya yung gene, ini-increase niya yung growth, yung ADG, yung ini-improve niya yung FCR or FCE ng hayop, but at the same time, it also affects yung fertility ng breeder animals natin. So magkakaroon siya ng calving difficulties as well. And yung mga reproduction traits niya ay ina sorry, the gene for double masculine also affects yung reproduction traits. But unfortunately, the relationship is negative. So negatively correlated yung double masculine gene or yung growth, increase in size, increase in ADG, etc. doon sa reproduction rate. That makes it difficult for them to produce their young. Next, for variable expressivity, ito naman, para mas mabilis ninyo maintindihan, let's use this picture for example. Itong 10 na dogs dito, pare-pareho sila ng genotype. But notice that they express the phenotype differently. So, dog 1 until dog 10, pare-pareho ng genotype. But, magkakaiba sila ng expression. So, dito sa, for example, dito sa number 1, dog 1, mas marami siyang brown na portion at saka black na portion than Dog 7. Dog 7, meron siyang brown, black, and white na portion. Pero, kokonti lang yung black and brown na portion niya. So, pare-pareho silang meron ng kulay na yon, but different, kumbaga, different intensity of expression. Yun ang variable expressivity. So, ang typical examples natin, or typical example natin sa hayop is snorter dwarfism. Ito, pare-pareho silang may abnormality. Pag sinabing dwarf is very small animals. So, some die soon after birth. Tapos yung mga iba, they ang tawag dito, nade-deliver sila successfully, meaning to say, ipapanganak sila successfully, normal size, but they only live up to a certain size and up to a certain age. Next, for incomplete penetrance, so sa variable expressivity, lahat ng mga hayop, pare-pareho ng genotype, but they express the phenotype differently. In this case, sa incomplete penetrance, pare-pareho sila ng genotype, pero merong mga hayop na hindi na-express yung expected na phenotype. So, since incomplete penetrance siya, may mga, so halimbawa dito, yung mga white na kulay, white na boxes, sila yung mga hayop na hindi nag-express na expected phenotype, which is in this case, green. Once again, pare-pareho sila ng genotype. Dito, so ang opposite ng incomplete penetrance is complete penetrance. Pag complete penetrance, ito pare-pareho ang individuals na to ng genotype and they showed the expected phenotype. Pare-pareho silang green. But in this case, incomplete, some animals did not show the expected phenotype even if they had the genotype. Ang typical example sa humans is polydactyl gene. So yung polydactyly, yung pagkakaroon natin ng extra digit, meron siyang, ang tawag dito, dominant yon. Ibig sabihin, yung gene na yun is dominant, but there are individuals na, for example, ako, I have 5 fingers. Example lang Example, kinikerry ko yung polydactyl gene, but since incomplete penetrance ang pattern nito, hindi ko in-express yung extra digit. Maaaring ako ay merong polydactyl gene and ito ay dominant, pero dahil ito ay incompletely penetrant, hindi ko na-express ang extra digit. That's why 5 lang ang makikita ninyong fingers ko. Yun ang example lang, incomplete penetrance. Example pa, halimbawa sa klase natin, lahat kayo merong polydactyl gene. Lahat kayo nagkikarry nun. Meaning you carry the dominant allele. But, hindi lahat kayo ay merong extra finger or extra digit. Yon ang incomplete penetrance. And then lastly is itong extranuclear inheritance. Kaya siya tinawag na extranuclear is because the genes affecting yung mga traits natin ay makikita outside the nucleus. Kaya siya extranuclear ay dahil yung may mga traits na kung saan ang genes na nag-i-influence sa mga traits na yon ay makikita outside the nucleus. And since outside the nucleus siya, we can also term this as cytoplasmic or extra chromosomal inheritance. Extra chromosomal meaning outside the chromosomes natin. And then kaya siya tinawag na cytoplasmic inheritance because outside the nucleus, you see the cytoplasm. So, yung extranuclear inheritance or cytoplasmic inheritance is responsible for showing or expressing or influencing yung mga maternal effects. So, since maternal effects ito, ang tinutukoy niya is, meron kasi tayong mga genes outside the nucleus. Di ba yung carriers of the hereditary material ay yung chromosomes natin. And the chromosomes are located in the nucleus. But, recall your parts of the cell na yung mitochondria natin ay nagkikerry din siya ng genes. And your mitochondria is outside the nucleus. Wala siyang chromosomes, but your mitochondria has genes. And notice that during fertilization, the sperm and the egg, so ang nagjo-join yung nucleus ng sperm and nucleus ng egg, forming the zygote. But hindi pwede na nucleus at nucleus lang ang nagjo-join. So ang contribution ng sperm ay nucleus and yung contribution ng egg or ng female ay yung nucleus niya plus its cytoplasm. So yung zygote natin, kailangan din niya ng cytoplasm para makumpleto, di ba? Nucleus plus the nucleus of the sperm plus the nucleus of the egg and then yung kanyang cytoplasm. Kailangan ng cytoplasm ng egg para mabuo yung zygote. So in this case, yung egg contributes or the female contributes the cytoplasm and doon sa cytoplasm makikita yung mitochondria. So ang inheritance na to ay napapasa from mother to offspring. Once again, mother to offspring kasi nga ang kinocontribute ng nanay mo ay hindi lang yung kanyang nucleus but also its cytoplasm containing the mitochondria. That means meron siyang naipapasa sa'yo na genes, na traits na kinikip mo forever. Meaning to say is hindi mo nakuha sa tatay mo. Kasi ang contribution ng tatay mo ay yung kanyang nucleus lang. Nucleus ng kanyang sperm. Yung nanay mo ay ang contribution niya, nucleus and yung cytoplasm. Containing, of course, the organelles. So your mother to either the son and the anak son and daughter. Pero kung ikaw na lalaki, so yung ikaw na anak na lalaki, nakuha mo yung maternal trait doon yung trait na yon or yung gene na yon from your mother, but if the son got married, tapos magkakaroon ng anak, yung son na yon hindi niya maipapasa sa kanyang offspring. Because nga, ang pattern of transmission or yung mode of transmission is from mother to offspring. Okay? Mother to offspring, whether that is yung offspring ay male or female. Okay? So, ang mga example ng traits that are governed by external care inheritance ay yung milk and fat production. So, yung milk and fat production ay hindi siya direktang galing sa or hindi directly na yung genes ay galing sa mitochondria but rather kumbaga enhanced by mitochondrial genes. So itong milk and fat production, hindi lang iisang gene ang nag-govern nitong traits na to, nitong milk production at saka fat production. So yung traits ng yung genes controlling the expression of these traits, pwedeng galing sa nucleus, galing sa chromosomes, nuclear chromosomes, but also there are genes that help enhance itong traits na to galing sa mitochondria. Yan. Such as syempre, di ba yung mitochondria natin is the powerhouse of the cell. So, tawag dito, the genes present in the mitochondria govern energy metabolism. So yung energy metabolism na yon, ini-influence yung traits like milk production, fat production, and even some reproduction traits ng natin. So that ends my discussion for sex-related traits until extranuclear inheritance. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And I hope you learned something. If you have clarifications, do not hesitate to message me because I appreciate feedback. That is for me to understand that is for me to determine kung naintindihan ninyo yung discussion natin or hindi. So that ends my